Good morning students. Today's class will see about a solved question paper of physiology, that is November 2017 of 2016 scheme examination. So the first question was define erythropoiesis, discuss different stages of erythropoiesis. Erythropoiesis is the process which involves the origin, development and maturation of erythrocytes. The stages or the different stages of erythropoiesis include: first one is proerythroblast or megaloblast, is the first cell derived from the stem cell. It is large in size, nucleus occupies almost all the cell completely, it multiplies several times and finally forms a cell of next stage called early normoplast. Early normoplast is smaller in nucleus, the nucleoli disappear and condensation of chromatin network occurs. The condensed network becomes dense. The third one is intermediate normoblast. This cell is smaller than earlier phase. Nucleus is still present but now chromatin network shows further condensation. Late normoblast, diameter of the cell decreases further, nucleus becomes very small, quantity of the hemoglobin increases and cytoplasm becomes almost acidophilic and nucleus disintegrates and disappears. Reticulocyte, also called as immature RBC, cytoplasm contains the reticular network. The reticulum of reticulocyte stains with supravital stain. The reticulocyte basophilic due to presence of remnants of Golgi apparatus, mitochondria and other organelles of cytoplasm. Mature erythrocyte, reticular network disappears and the cell becomes matured RBC. Matured RBC is biconcave and smaller in size. It is with hemoglobin and without nucleus. This is the phases of erythropoiesis. Second question, describe the physiological events in the skeletal muscle contraction. The changes taking place during the muscular contraction are: first one, electrical changes. Electrical events occur in the muscle during the resting condition as well as active conditions. Electrical potential changes during the muscular contraction in the muscle during the resting condition is known as resting membrane potential. Electrical changes that occur in active conditions, that is when the muscle is stimulated, are together called action potential. Second is the physical changes. Physical change which takes place during the muscular contraction is the change in length of the muscle fibers or change in tension developed in the muscle. Depending upon this, the muscular contraction is classified into two types, namely isotonic contraction and isometric contraction. Third is histological or molecular changes. Molecular mechanism is responsible for the formation of actomyosin complex that result in the muscular contraction. It includes three stages. First is the excitation contraction coupling. Second is role of troponin and tropomyosin. Third is sliding mechanism. The fourth one is chemical changes. Energy necessary for muscular contraction is liberated during the process of breakdown and resynthesis of ATP. The fifth one is thermal changes. During the muscular contraction, heat is produced. Not all the heat is liberated at a time. It is released in different stages, that is resting heat, initial heat and recovery heat. The third question was define synapse. What are the properties of a synapse? Synapse, it is a junction between neurons. It is classified by two methods. Their anatomical method is known as axonic synapse or axodendric synapse and axosomatic synapse, and functional classification are electrical and chemical synapse. The main function of a synapse is to transmit the impulses, action potential from one neuron to another. Thus, there are two types of synapse, that is excitatory synapse which transmit impulse, inhibitory synapse which inhibit the transmission of impulse. The property of synapse are their one-way communication, one-way conduction. Second is synaptic delay. It is the shortest delay that occurs during the transmission of impulse through the synapse. The significance is that it helps to detect whether the pathway for reflex monosynaptic or polysynaptic. Second is fatigue. Third is fatigue. During prolonged muscular activity, the synapse form a state of fatigue and is due to depletion of neurotransmitter substance called acetylcholine. Summation. It is the fusion of effects or progressive increase in the excitatory postsynaptic potential in postsynaptic neuron when many presynaptic excitatory terminals are stimulated repeatedly. Short notes on first is coronary circulation. Heart muscles is supplied by two coronary arteries, namely right and left coronary arteries, which are first branches of aorta. The arteries encircle the heart in the manner of crown, hence the name coronary arteries, that is Latin word of corona means crown. Right and left coronary arteries. The right coronary arteries supply all of the right ventricle and posterior portion of the left ventricle. Left coronary arteries supplies mainly the anterior and lateral parts of the left ventricle. Normal blood flow through the coronary circulation is about 200 ml per minute. It is about 4% of the cardiac output. The venous drainage from the heart muscle is by three types of vessels. First is coronary sinus, is the large vein which drain 75% of total coronary flow. Second is anterior coronary veins which drain blood from the right side of the heart and open directly into the right atrium. And third is the basin veins drain deoxygenated blood from myocardium directly into the concerned chamber of the heart. Blood flow through the coronary artery is not constant. It decreases during the systole and increases during diastole. The factors regulating coronary flow are: first is need for oxygen. Oxygen is the most important factor maintaining the blood flow to the coronary blood vessels. Amount of blood passing through the coronary circulation is directly proportional to the consumption of oxygen by the cardiac muscle. Second is metabolic factors. Coronary vasodilation during the hypoxic condition occurs because of some metabolic products, which increases the coronary blood flow from the vasodilation. Third is coronary perfusion pressure. Since right atrial pressure is low, the mean arterial pressure becomes the major factor that maintains the coronary blood flow. Fourth one is nervous factors. Coronary blood vessels are innervated by both parasympathetic and sympathetic divisions of autonomic nervous system. However, these nerves influence coronary blood flow indirectly by acting on the musculature of the heart. The fifth question was carbon dioxide transport. Carbon dioxide is transported by the blood from the tissues of alveoli. The carbon dioxide transported in the blood by four ways. There as a dissolved form, that is 77%, as carbonic acid, that is negligible amount, as bicarbonate, that is 63%, and carboamino compound, that is 30%. Transport of oxygen, carbon dioxide in dissolved form. Carbon dioxide dissolves into the blood and dissolves in the fluid of plasma, forming a simple solution. Transport of carbon dioxide as a carbonic acid. Part of dissolved plasma combine to form carbonic acid. Through carbon dioxide transport in this form, this reaction is very slow and it is only negligible amount. Transport of carbon dioxide as bicarbonate. About 63% of carbon dioxide transported as bicarbonate. From plasma, carbon dioxide enters the RBC. In the RBC, carbon dioxide combines with water to form carbonic acid. The reaction inside the RBC is very rapid because of the enzyme carbonic anhydrase. It accelerates the reaction. It present only inside the RBC and not in the plasma. This increased concentration of bicarbonate ion inside the RBC causes diffusion of bicarbonate ion through the cell membrane into the plasma. When the blood reaches the alveoli, the sodium bicarbonate in the plasma dissociates into sodium and bicarbonate ion. The bicarbonate ion moves into the RBC. It makes chlorine ion to move out of the RBC into the plasma, where it combines with sodium and forms sodium chloride. At the same time, oxygen also enters the RBC. It displaces hydrogen ion from the hemoglobin. The hydrogen ion combines with bicarbonate ion and forms carbonic acid, which dissociates in the water and carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is expelled out. Transport of carbon dioxide, carboamino compound. About 30% of carbon dioxide transported as carboamino compounds. It is transported in the blood in combination with hemoglobin and plasma protein. Carbon dioxide combines with plasma proteins to form carbinohemoglobin. As the combination is with loose bond of the carbon dioxide is easily released in the alveoli, where the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is very low. The sixth question was hormones of posterior pituitary gland and their functions. Posterior lobe of pituitary gland has neural connections between hypothalamus, while anterior lobe has vascular connection with hypothalamus. In other words, the secretions from the posterior lobe are controlled by neural signal originating from hypothalamus. The hormones of posterior pituitary gland include: first is the vasopressin or ADH. The main function is to regulate the volume of extracellular fluid and plasma osmolality. The chief site of action is kidney. ADH increases the water reabsorption by increasing water permeability in the renal collecting ducts. The large dose of ADH causes smooth muscle contraction, so it is called vasopressin. Second hormone is oxytocin. It is secreted mainly by aura ventricular nucleus and small quantity by supraoptic nucleus in the hypothalamus, and it is transported from hypothalamus to posterior pituitary through nerve fibers of hypothalamo-hypophyseal tract. In the posterior pituitary, the oxytocin is stored in the nerve endings of the hypothalamo-hypophyseal tract. When the suitable stimuli reach the posterior pituitary from the hypothalamus, oxytocin is released into the blood. Oxytocin is secreted both in males and in females. It is a polypeptide having half-life of 6 minutes. Action in female, it acts on mammary gland and the uterus. Action on mammary gland, it causes ejection of milk from the mammary gland. Its ducts of mammary gland are lined by myoepithelial cells. It squeezes the milk from the alveoli of the mammary gland to the exterior through the duct system and nipple. This process by the milk is ejected from the alveoli of the mammary gland is called as milk ejection reflex or milk let down reflex. On pregnant uterus, it causes contraction of the uterus and helps in the expulsion of the fetus. Throughout pregnancy, oxytocin secretion is inhibited by estrogen and progesterone. At the end of pregnancy, secretion of these two hormones decrease, so there is a sudden increase in the oxytocin hormone. Secretion of oxytocin increases during labor. At the onset of labor, cervix dilates and fetus descends through the birth canal. During the movement of fetus to the cervix, the receptors on the cervix are stimulated and start to discharge large number of impulses. Oxytocin also stimulates the release of prostaglandin in placenta. The prostaglandin intensifies the uterine contraction induced by the oxytocin. On non-pregnant uterus, the action of non-pregnant uterus is to facilitate the transport of sperms to the female genital tract of the fallopian tube by producing uterine contraction during sexual intercourse. Action on male, it released oxytocin increase during ejaculation. It facilitates release of sperm into the urethra by causing contraction of smooth muscle fibers in the reproductive tract, particularly vas deferens. Stages of spermatogenesis is the seventh question. Spermatogenesis is the process by which male gametes are called spermatozoa formed from the primitive germ cells in the testis. It takes 74 days for the formation of sperm to form a primitive germ cell. The stages include, first one is stage 1, that is proliferation. During this phase, spermatogonia divide by mitosis without any change in chromosomal number, and this stage is spermatogonia migrate along the sterilized cells towards the lumen of seminiferous tubule. Stage 2 of the stage of growth. In this stage, the primitive spermatocyte grows into a large cell. Stage 3 is stage of maturation. After reaching the full size, each spermatocyte quickly undergoes meiotic or maturation division, which is of two phases, that is phase 1. Each spermatocyte divides into two secondary spermatocytes and receives only haploid or half number of the chromosome. Phase 2, each secondary spermatocyte undergoes second meiotic division, resulting in two smaller cells called spermatid. The stage 4, stage of transformation. Now for the division, spermatids transformed into mature spermatozoa by means of spermatogenesis and released by spermination. The question number 8, the types and functions of immunoglobulin. Immunoglobulins are the glycoprotein molecules that are produced by plasma cells in response to an immunogen and which function as antibodies. The immunoglobulin derive their name from the finding that they migrate with the globular protein which antibody containing serum is placed an electrical field. Immunoglobulins can be divided into 5 different classes based on the difference in the amino acid sequence in the constant region of the heavy chain. IgG, that is gamma heavy chain, IgM, mu heavy chain, IgA, alpha heavy chain, IgD, delta heavy chain, IgE, epsilon heavy chains. These are the functions of the immunoglobulin. IgG, main form of antibodies in circulation, produced protein increase after immunization, secreted during the secondary response. IgA, main antibody type in external secretions, the saliva and mother's milk. IgE, responsible for allergic symptoms in immediate hypersensitivity reactions. IgM, function as the antigen receptors on lymphocyte and surface prior to the immunization, secreted during the primary response. IgD, function as antigen receptors on lymphocyte surface prior to the immunization. Other functions are unknown. Composition and functions of saliva. The main composition is water and solids of 0.5%. The solids are divided into organic substance, inorganic substance and gases. Organic substance again divided into enzymes and other organic substance. Enzymes include amylase, maltase, lingual lipase, lysosome, phosphatase, carbonic anhydrase and callicarine. Other organic substances mucin, albumin, proline-rich proteins from lactoferrin, IgA, blood group antigens, free amino acids, and non-protein nitrogen substance. Inorganic substances include sodium, calcium, potassium, bicarbonate, bromide, chromide, fluoride, and phosphate. Gases include oxygen, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen. Functions of saliva. Preparation for food from swallowing. The food is taken into mouth, moistened and dissolved by saliva. The mucous membrane of the mouth is moistened by saliva. It facilitates chewing. Second, appreciation of taste. Taste is a chemical sensation. Saliva, by its solvent action, dissolved substance can stimulate the taste buds. Digestive functions like saliva have three enzymes, namely salivary amylase, maltase, and lingual lipase. Salivary amylase and maltase are carbohydrate digestive enzymes. The lingual lipase is a fat digestive enzymes. Cleansing and protective function. Due to constant secretion of saliva, the mouth and teeth are rinsed and kept off the food debris. Enzyme lysosome of saliva kills some bacteria, Staphylococcus and Brucella. Role in speech. By moistening the lubricating soft part of the mouth and lips, saliva helps in speech. Excretory function. Many substances, both organic and inorganic, excreted in saliva. It secretes the substances like mercury, potassium, iodide, lead and thiocyanate. Regulation of body temperature and regulation of water balance. Color blindness. It is inability to perceive one or more than one primary colors. It is a sex-linked genetic disorder. Causes acquired color blindness include trauma to the eyes, chronic disease like glaucoma, retinitis, sickle cell anemia, leukemia, diabetes, liver disease, and multiple sclerosis. Drugs like antibiotics, antihypertensive, antituberculosis, and barbiturate. Toxins like fertilizers, carbon monoxide, and carbon sulfide. Alcoholism, aging. Classification of color blindness. Monochromatism. In the subject cannot appreciate any color. It is very rare. The retina of these people are totally insensitive to color and they see only whole spectrum in different shades of grey. Dichromatism. In the subject can appreciate only two colors, two primary colors. The recipient of third color is defective. Trichromatism. These persons appreciate all three primary colors but intensity of one of the primary color is not appreciated properly. Neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitter is a chemical substance that acts as a mediator for transmission of nerve impulse from one neuron to another neuron through synapse. To consider a substance as a neurotransmitter, it should fulfill the following criteria. It may be found in a neuron, produced by a neuron, released by a neuron. After release, it acts on the target area and produce some biological effect. After the action, it must be inactivated. Classification of neurotransmitter depending upon chemical nature, their amino acid, amines and other like acetylcholine. Depending upon functions, there are excitatory neurotransmitters, inhibitory neurotransmitters. Next is differentiate between. First one is proliferative and secretory phase of menstrual cycle. Proliferative phase or otherwise known as follicular phase, it extends for about 10 to 12 days following from the 6th to 13th day of a 28-day cycle. Primary follicle change into graphene follicle. Estrogens are secreted. Endometrium is about 2 to 3 millimeter thick. Uterine glands do not secrete watery secretion. Secretory phase, otherwise known as luteal phase, it extends for about 13 to 14 days after ovulation, usually from the day 15 to 28 in a 28-day cycle. Empty graphene follicle change into corpus luteum. Progesterone is secreted. Endometrium is about 5 millimeter thickness. Uterine glands secrete watery secretion. Active and passive transport. Active transport, the movement of molecules across cell membrane, pumping the molecules against the concentration gradient using ATP energy is called as active transport. The movement of molecules within and across the cell membrane and thus transporting is through the concentration gradient without using ATP is called as passive transport. Energy required for active, no energy required for passive. With the use of ATP, it pumps molecule upwards. In this, molecule move downwards. Active transport require carrier protein. Passive transport, carrier proteins are not involved. However, it facilitates diffusion certain channels. And lastly, skeletal muscle and smooth muscle. Smooth muscle fibers are located in the walls of hollow visceral organs except heart, appear spindle shape and they're under involuntary control. Skeletal muscle fibers occur in the muscles which are attached to skeleton. This is striated in appearance and under voluntary control. Skeletal muscles are well striated, smooth muscle lacks striation, so hence the name is smooth muscle. Skeletal muscles innervated by peripheral nervous system, that is PNS. Smooth muscles are innervated by autonomic nervous system, that is sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. Skeletal muscle help to perform movements, that is walking, running, jumping, writing, etc. Smooth muscles are responsible for vital functions like breathing, digestion, urine formation, etc. Thank you. Thank you for listening.